Hello, everyone. My name is Courtney, and welcome to this video about the brainstorming intervention process model. On the agenda, we have an overview of brainstorming, some weaknesses and strengths associated with brainstorming applications, and finally, a conclusion. So an overview of brainstorming. What is brainstorming? Let's look at some definitions. McLean states that brainstorming is a common process used in teams to generate as many ideas as possible on a specific problem or issue. On the other hand, Webster's online dictionary defines brainstorming as a group problem-solving technique that involves the spontaneous contribution of ideas from all members of the group. So brainstorming continued. How is brainstorming used? So brainstorming is a pretty easy process. It can be done in just a few steps. First, you'll need to choose a specific problem or issue that you want fixed. And sometimes the problem may already be known to everyone. It's just a matter of coming together and kind of just coming up with the solution. Next are communication rules. These rules should be known to all participants. They should be visible to everyone. And if anyone needs clarification on them, it should be given. After communication has been established and is clear, then you can move on to spontaneity. In this step, participants can basically shout their ideas out loud or jot them down. And then you'll want to keep a record as this is going on. A record should be kept and all ideas should be recorded so that they're visible to everyone. This can be done on a whiteboard or just a big space that everyone can view these and kind of bounce their ideas off of. Secondly, you need to be prepared. You'll have to, if you're leading, you should know that you'll have to contribute some ideas in case your group has some trouble getting started or they can't come up with any ideas. And then you should also know when to quit, ending the brainstorming process when there are no more ideas being offered. But you should also remember that sometimes it's not that they don't have anything to say, it's just they're needing time to think. So you should always remember to be patient. So why do we use brainstorming? It's pretty much for problem solving. We use brainstorming because it is a problem solving activity where individuals can build on or develop their thinking skills. It encourages creative thoughts, no matter how far-fetched it may seem. And yeah. So moving on to some strengths and weaknesses of brainstorming. Let's talk about the strengths and weaknesses. You may already be familiar with some advantages, but you should also be mindful of these disadvantages and try to minimize them as much as possible. On the positive side note, some advantages of brainstorming are that the risk of problem may be recognized quickly. If you are already familiar with what needs to be done, you can work on that quickly. And then you'll notice that the brainstorming session probably doesn't last as long as you thought it would. This may be helpful because then there can be more time spent finding an actual solution instead of just having to solely focus on that problem. Next, one idea may inspire the other. So idea inspiration, when someone throws out an idea, it can help spark up others on an idea, especially if they're struggling to come up with something or even just a suggestion. On the other hand, some disadvantages are that all of the risks or problems cannot be accounted for. There's no really possible way to know all of the problems are going to arise in your future. So if you're hoping that you can kind of just like fix all your solutions, this wouldn't be the best thing. Next would be having participants that speak too much. This can be a problem for people who may not like the idea of shouting out their answers, or for people who are even just quiet brainstormers. Not everyone wants to have like noise in the background. Some people prefer being quiet. And then lastly, everyone won't want to participate. So some participants may be quieter and won't like to speak in groups, so they may remain quiet. and just not participate in the group activity at all. So moving on to the brainstorming process, or brainstorming application process, one would be brainwriting. Rothwell states that in team or group level interventions, brainstorming can be used to get creative juices flowing during a meeting. So let's talk about how they're used at a interteam or group level. This can be done in several ways, which is the brainstorming process. And let's say that each time during the brainstorming process, you're in a group or a team that there are always a few people who might shout out their answers or ideas, or even just take over the brainstorming process. Brainwriting is a great method for encouraging everyone's participation for all members in a controlled, calm environment. The process for this is pretty simple. You would just get everyone to first sit quietly and jot down their answers. And then you can kind of just like set a timer or a number of ideas that you want people to come up with, whether it be 1, 5, 10, just any amount of number. And then next, each person, once they're done with jotting down their ideas, they would pass it along to their neighbor, and their neighbor would add on to any ideas that they could think of while, looking over the list that they were given. And then that process is going to continue until everyone's contributed to an idea. And once that is done, you're just going to accumulate all ideas and write them down and kind of just discuss and see how you can go forward from there. So the next application in the brainstorming process would be starbursting. Another way that brainstorming can be used in a group. This is another way that brainstorming can be used in a group or team setting. Let's say that in another scenario that your team is trying to come up with new ways to reduce lobby waiting time. Starbursting can help groups explore ideas by asking specific questions about the topic. So to get started, if you would want to reduce those lobby waiting times, you'll first need to draw a 6-pointed star and leave room in the middle to write your challenge or question that you're needing a solution to. In our case, it would be finding a solution to reduce lobby waiting times. Each point of the star, as you can see, would be labeled with who, what, when, where, why, and how. And each point would then be used to come up with the questions about the challenge. For example, how do we reduce lobby waiting times, or when is the lobby slowest in the day? These questions can kind of then be used to dive deeper and produce ideas, so a roadmap to your solution can be developed. And then this is just a conclusion. This wraps up our overview of the brainstorming intervention process model. And thank you guys so much for watching. And this is just a list of our references. Thank you guys.